Hello and welcome. Technology connects us in more ways than ever before, which is absolutely incredible. But it also means that we need to be a little smarter about how we navigate this online world. So today, we're going to walk through all the essentials for staying safe and secure online. Here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll talk about our digital world. Then, we'll get into understanding the risks out there. After that, we'll learn how to spot the most common threats, build ourselves a digital safety toolkit, and wrap up with how to feel confident and in control of it all. So let's just dive right in with Section 1, Welcome to Your Digital World. I think it's important to start by just acknowledging the sheer power of the technology we use every single day. And it really, really does, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. Whether it's video calling your grandkids who live across the country or just sharing photos with old friends, technology has become this amazing bridge that keeps our relationships strong and our minds full of new information. But, that brings us to this classic idea. It's a bit of a cliche, but it's true. Having the entire world at our fingertips is just fantastic, but it also means we have a responsibility to ourselves to use it safely and thoughtfully. And that leads us perfectly into Section 2, understanding the online risks. Because honestly, just being aware of the challenges out there is your first and probably your best line of defense. Now here's the thing. Cybercrime can affect absolutely anyone at any age, that's for sure. But the data tells a really specific story. Scammers often zero in on older adults, making them a much more frequent target. Which, of course, leads to the big question, why? Why is that? Why this specific focus? Well, it's definitely not random. There are some very clear reasons behind it. And it really boils down to two main things. First, many seniors have had a lifetime to build up their savings, which, unfortunately, makes them a more profitable target for a criminal. And second, there can sometimes be a more trusting nature, which scammers are just experts at exploiting. So, you see, it all comes down to this balance. On one side, you've got the incredible promise of the internet, staying connected, learning new things, endless entertainment. But on the other, you've got the peril, the scams, and the risks. The key isn't to be afraid of the peril, but to understand it, so you can fully and safely enjoy all the promise. Which brings us right into Section 3, Spotting Common Threats. And I think it helps to think of these not as some big, scary monsters, but more like challenges that you can absolutely learn to recognize and navigate around. Okay, first up is the big one, phishing. This is when a scammer sends you an email that looks like it's from a legitimate place, like your bank or maybe a delivery service. Their whole goal is to trick you into giving away sensitive information, like your passwords or your credit card numbers, usually by making it seem super urgent. Next, you've got to be on the lookout for suspicious links. You'll see these pop up in emails, text messages, everywhere. If you click one, it can do one of two bad things: take you to a fake website that's built to steal your info, or worse, it could just download some nasty software, like a virus, right onto your computer. And then there's password cracking. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Criminals use special software that can try millions and millions of common password combinations in just a few seconds to try and break into your accounts. This is precisely why a simple, easy-to-guess password just won't cut it anymore. So let's break down how a typical phishing scam plays out. First, it starts with an email that creates this sense of panic. Something like, "Your account has been locked," or "We've detected suspicious activity." Then it's going to ask you to provide personal info to fix the problem. And finally, it'll give you a link to click that takes you to a website that looks real, but it's a complete fake. All right, we've talked enough about the problems. Let's get to the solutions. Section 4 is all about your digital safety toolkit. Think of these as powerful, practical tools you can use to build a really strong defense. So, after all of that, the big question is, how do you actually protect yourself from all this stuff? Well, the good news is it's probably easier than you think. It just takes a little bit of know-how. Let's walk through 4 key habits. First, and this is your number one defense, use strong, unique passwords for every single important account. Second, always be a little skeptical of emails you weren't expecting. If it feels a bit off, it probably is. Just pause. Third, make it a reflex to think before you click on any link. That tiny moment of hesitation can save you a world of trouble. And finally, keep your software updated. Those updates aren't just for new features. They often have critical security patches that close the loopholes criminals love to exploit. And this slide just says it all, doesn't it? A computer can crack password 123 in literally less than a second. But a password like the one on the right, with that mix of capital letters, numbers, and symbols, could take that same computer centuries to figure out. That's the kind of protection we're talking about. So you see, the whole point here is that you don't need to be a tech expert. It's really just about being aware of what's out there and then consistently taking these small, simple, proactive steps to keep your digital life secure. And all of that brings us to our final section, staying safe and confident. This is about taking everything we've talked about and using it to build an empowered future for yourself online. It really all boils down to 3 simple takeaways. Number 1, just be aware that risks exist. Number 2, learn to recognize those common threats we talked about, like phishing. And number 3, actively use your safety tools, starting with those strong passwords. Ultimately, this is the most important message to take away from all this. You are not powerless here. Not at all. Your security is truly in your hands, and by just being mindful and proactive, you have all the power you need to stay safe. So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. After everything we've covered, what is the very first concrete step you're going to take today to make your online world just a little bit more secure?